Hello everyone and welcome back to my long missed, I think, train simulator tutorial series. And I've been on a bit of a break, and I'm back, and I did try to do this video ages ago, before my break. But it turned out the microphone wasn't was on mute, so I couldn't use the clips that didn't have the narration. And adding narration separately, one, I didn't have time, and two, it wouldn't sound great, my narration, my separate narration. So I'm remaking it all. I've deleted any progress that I made in those episodes, and this is going to be a 3-part episode because this is quite a long part, long in the eyes of the tutorial. When you know how to do it, it becomes second nature and can become quite easy and quick. So yeah, I've decided to break it down into an episode 4A, 4B, and 4C, and each of those episodes is going to focus on a different part of episode 4's aim, which is to teach you how to set up. So we've added the player train, but how to give it its timetable and make it the player train. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. So of course, first you open up Train Simulator, however you would usually open it up, and you go to the build menu, click on the scenario tab, find your route, which in this case is the Chatham Main Line. This is probably a procedure that's becoming very familiar to you. Find the tutorial and click edit, and then appreciate the lovely screenshots. And this, I haven't bought this because I'm tight with cash, but yeah, appreciate the lovely screenshots and ads you get, well, related ads, train sim ads, and the lovely screenshots you get when loading. Oh, that was the quickest I've ever had loading wise. So let's just have a look. So we've spawned near the back of this train here. And we are going to do one quick thing before. No, what? Scratch that. I'll do that afterwards because that's something that can really be done at any time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the to make this train move in any way, shape or form, it needs a driver. Automatic trains, driverless trains on the southeastern main line. Yes, so the driver is up here. It looks like a driver, just a man wearing a hat, and it's second row down, second across. You click on that. Click on the carriage, the locomotive you want it to be applied to, which in this case is this one. So usually if you click on it, it works. There we are, the driver's popped up. Now the more eagle-eyed amongst you, if you look at this same menu, will notice something. If I delete it, and then if I add it back, basically this icon, when I deleted it, went grey. And then if I add it back, it comes to life. So basically what it is, just turning it down my end, that won't have any effect to you, but then I don't feel like I have to shout as loud. So what it is this is called the timetable view, and I reckon you'd probably spend, rough estimated guess, about 80% of your time when you're making scenarios, somewhere like 70-80%. What this is it's a way, so it's this, it looks like a clock kind of thing, 3/4 blue, 1/4 red. third row down, first across, click on it, and it takes you to this view. So on this side, it's the map of the route. So here's London Victoria up here, and then go all the way down here. Here's Raynham. So that's what's over here, including a list of all your drivers, which are services. And then over here you've got a timetable, which is where you'll see the trains, stops and stuff, which you have to make yourself. So what we're going to do is there's a few things in this little box here that we're going to look at. If you're using trackpad and you do not have a zoom, this is going to be invaluable to you. Zoom in, zoom out. And if you're using a mouse, then you don't really need to worry about those. The other two you might need is zoom to train, which takes you straight to, for some reason, the back. I don't know why, but it takes you to the back of the train here. So you can see this is our train. This one isn't going to do anything yet. Zoom to path, because there is no path, because we haven't told it where to go. So our first telling it where to go is going to be, first of all, to stop at this station and picking up passenger. Sorry, I need to I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't written a script. The first part of this is going to be setting up the service. So that's going to be things like renaming it and stuff. So what we want to do for this is we want to click on this guy, this little, again, it's another driver icon kind of thing. If we click on that, we'll get this panel coming up. So this panel, this is the name. Now, if you were making a timetable, if you were making a scenario that uses real life timetables or things like that, sometimes you might put, like, I don't know, London Victoria to, London Victoria to London Victoria London Victoria to Raynham or something like that. For the sake of this, and I see a lot of people do this, there's nothing wrong with it. You can just call it something like player train or player consist. So I'm going to call it player consist. But putting the word player in doesn't automatically make it a player train. And we'll get to that in a minute. So this is the start time. Now that defaults to whatever the start time of the scenario was set to when you placed this driver down on the train. So in this case it was 12 o'clock because we didn't change that. This is why it's always easier to set the start time of the scenario first, so then you don't have to, when you've got millions of AI and stuff, you don't have to go through and change each of their start times and then recalibrate the whole thing and reload each timetable. Yeah, it just avoids nightmares. So we don't need to change that. Sometimes you might, especially with AI, you'd probably be changing that. You could, for example, get a train to start a little later, like leave at, I don't know, you could make it leave at 12:03 from here, just to have a little gap between that and the train in front and stuff like that. Can be really useful, especially if you want quite a packed AI, or you've got, or you've kind of got like, especially when you get to the end of the line, you start to run out of space. But yeah, I'll talk about that more in the AI episodes, because there'll be quite a lot of those, I fear. Anyway, this tick box is what I was talking about earlier about player. Writing the word player in here doesn't automatically make it a player train. So what you have to do is you have to locate this box here, tick it, and that makes it register as a player consist. And what it does is, in your list of services up here, it puts a little P in brackets to show that that's the player consist. So if you named it like London Victoria to Rochester, then it's just there, so you know that that is the player train. So sometimes people name it player contest. Some people don't and just use that P there. This next one we're not going to use. This would be good if you were doing an empty stock run to a depot or something. It's unload at start, unloaded at start. So unloaded at start would mean there's no one on. So good for runs to and from depots and sidings. That's if it was one scenario. But if, let's say, you had a run from Gillingham to Gillingham depot, considering that's not very far, I doubt you'd have that as a separate scenario. So, but yeah, so if the scenario starts in a depot or starts with a depot run of any sort, unloaded at start is for you, but not for us, because again, thinking about our game plan, it's come from London Victoria and it's going to Rochester. So in real life, this could basically be like we could just say this is like a driver's changeover. So of course there'll be passengers on board. This so yeah, we don't need to touch that box. This box here, I really need to talk more quietly. So this box here is priority. So it's kind of like in a car. It's basically who goes first at the junctions. Now again, thinking about our game plan here, I wouldn't use special, that can cause problems. Drop below special generally, and if you need to, go above. So it's in order of highest priority to lowest priority. So you don't need to worry about which one's highest, which one's lowest. It's in that order to help. So thinking about our game plan, what I want is for our player have to wait before this junction here for a train to come in from Strood and go along this curve and come here and go into Rochester platform 2. And I want that to go first, and because we're going to go from the one underneath special, which is express passenger, to get that priority, this AI train will need to be an express passenger, and then we'll make our player train a stopping passenger. Now, there's no rules about like you could set it to a stopping passenger if it was Rainham to Victoria, calling it Rochester, Swanley, St Mary Cray, Shortlands, Beckenham Junction and London Victoria. You could do that if you wanted. There's no rules. It's not dictating anything to do with the stopping pattern. It's just saying who gets to go first at signals and traffic lights and on passing loops and things like that. So we've set that to stopping passenger, meaning that this train that will be here gets to go first and into Rochester's platform 2. So that's it for this part of episode 4. The next part we will actually be giving it the instructions, the some people call it coding, programming, that kind of thing. I don't like to do that because that can sound to some people a scary word if they have no coding experience. It's not really coding. It's just giving it a timetable. So yeah, of course, save your game in the usual way. Now there's two ways in timetable view. You've got the conventional normal F2 key. You could do that, but you could also press this little. Jumped ahead of myself there. So you can just press this kind of what it looks like a save. Press it. There are no changes to save. I don't know why that's a warning. That could be just like note or something. I think warning is a bit too strong. Anyway, so there are no changes to save for me. That's okay. I'll click OK. It brings me back into the world. Just noticed this. Nice. So there's lots of little markings and arrows and stuff here. You don't need to worry about that. They're for like things like lighting and platforms and stuff. Like you'll notice these are at every light. I don't really know what they mean. I have no idea what this means. You don't need to worry about them really. So yeah. Anyway, after that you just press play. This is just exiting your scenario. Of course, don't worry about that. We'll get onto that in the next episode. Exit. And that's it. So I hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe to not miss the next episodes, and please leave a like. Share it with any friends who might be wanting to start their own train simulator scenarios, and I shall see you in the next video. So thank you everyone, and goodbye.